Hello and welcome as you log in to our Administrator Leadership Excellence Academy. We're thrilled to have you here today. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in about 4 minutes, but if we can, we'd love to make sure that your video is working. If you can go ahead and turn it on if you have that. Hi, James. Nice to see you.
Hi, good to be here.
Welcome. Great
Thank
to see you. Hi, Jody.
Hey there, Mr. Skinner.
Hi.
We'd love to, we are going to be going into breakout groups and using cameras today. So if you have the ability to turn on your camera and say hi, we'd love to see you. Hi, Marla. Nice to see you.
Hello.
And while we're waiting to start, you can go ahead and use the chat and tell us in the chat your name, your agency, your job title, and what you like to do when you're not at work. Something about yourself that's not work related. So welcome everybody. If you can, we'd love to see your faces. Go ahead and turn on your cameras if you can. We're going to be going into breakout groups and using cameras is going to be important in there. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Dana. Nice to see you all. Hi, Todd.
Hello.
Hi, love to see everybody. And go ahead and enter in the chat. I see some coming in already. So you guys can read the chat and find out who's in your Administrator Leadership Excellence Academy cohort, find out a little bit about one another. Cool, Todd likes to do geocaching with his oldest daughter and survival camping by yourself. Appreciate that. Wow.
And my dog.
With your dog, that's awesome. I'm not sure I know what that is, but I love to hear about it.
You have to look me up on Instagram and stuff for my page.
Oh, cool.
My dog and I make videos.
Nice. Wow. I like to, Jody says she likes to travel and attend live concerts. Yep. And hopefully we're getting back to some of that now, Jody. Absolutely.
I haven't been to a concert since like 1990.
Lori likes to fish. So Lori and Todd, I don't know, you guys could do survival fishing or something.
Survival.
All fishing is survival fishing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And James also enjoys hunting and fishing and guitar. I love it. I love to see what you guys like to do when you're not at work. That's excellent. Thank you all for sharing. So if you're just joining us, we'd love to have you come on camera and just say hi so we make sure your cameras work. We're going to be getting into breakout groups and asking you guys to come on camera if you can in a little while. So just testing them out. Hi, Donna. Nice to see you. And if you haven't already, go ahead and post in the chat your name, agency, job title, and what you like to do when you're not at work. Tell us a little bit about yourself so we can begin to get to know one another. And Olga, I have the start time now. So Olga, let me know if you think we're ready to go ahead.
I think in the interest of time and because we want to honor everyone's time, that we should get started. So let's do this.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody to the Administrator Leadership Excellence Academy. We're really thrilled to be kicking off our training cohort and cohort 3 of what we like to call ALEA. And this is really exciting for all of us at who work on the project and at TCAL and TWC to see all your smiling faces and to welcome you. So thanks so much for being here and for sharing what you like to do. I'm going to ask Olga, who's with us here and our trusty partner, to just run through some of the Zoom reminders. We're all Zoombies now, I know, so that we're prepared for today's training. Olga?
Thank you so much. So at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see what is called the floating meeting control panel, and that is that black bar with all of these items. So we ask that you remain muted unless, I guess, asked to speak or asked to join in on the conversation. And once you go into your breakout rooms, you will unmute and participate. You can stop and start your video. And I think Amy, did you want video on now or off unless you're impartial?
People are welcome to keep their videos on. We'd love to see you, but if you don't want to have your video on now, that's fine. But when we go into breakout groups or when you're speaking, we'd definitely love to see you.
Very good. And then if you hover over your name should be the first name listed on the participant panel. So if you open your participant panel, you look at the very top, you should see your name. So we want to make sure that your name matches what's in the PD portal so that we can provide appropriate PD credit. So just make sure that you have both your first name and your last name as they appear in the PD portal. And the chat, please have that open so that we can participate in the session by either responding to the question at hand or just reading responses. And share screen, if host allows, there is a share screen button. And so if you will be able to share your screen in breakout rooms, but not in the main room. And reactions, those are the nonverbal communication. Again, those are on the number 6 on your floating meeting control panel. And then leave meeting. You really don't want to leave meeting. So if you see end, or I see end, but if you see leave meeting, you don't want to hit leave the meeting. And one of the important things is when you are in the breakout rooms, there's 2 options. One says leave meeting, leave the breakout room, and one says leave the meeting. You don't want to hit leave the meeting when you're in a breakout room because that's going to throw you completely out of the webinar. So just be careful when you're in the breakout room not to leave the meeting. Thank you, Amy. Shall I continue?
We can take it from here.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Olga, for that. So another feature we're going to use a lot during our Academy is the annotate feature. And some of you may know how to do this already, but let's practice right now. You're going to go to your view options and up on the top and go to annotate. And then you can hit a stamp, or you can draw, do a text. And what I'd like to ask you to do is practice right now on the white space on this slide. So go ahead and place a stamp, or some of you don't see the annotate feature.
Yeah, I don't see it, Amy.
I don't see it either.
Okay.
On either. All I have is Zoom ratio.
Amy, you might need to turn on that feature before they can see it. I know Hannah had turned it on when she was showing, but I think the presenter needs to go up and turn on annotate. So
I see it. I'm not sure. What do I have to do? Sorry, y'all.
click on it, like see view options and click on it. Now it's showing.
Yeah.
Yes. Hannah, let me see, view. Yeah, it's not showing up.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to work on that and get to use annotate. Sorry about that.
It may be
Um,
that Hannah turned it
in my
on, so
section.
Hannah has to share.
No worries.
Oh.
But you could practice on Hannah's session. Okay.
That's okay.
All right. All right. Great. All right. So we'll do annotate in a little while. So, so thanks everybody again for joining. And I want to invite Lori Slayton and Beth Ponder to offer official welcome to our ALEA group.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lori Slayton with the Texas Workforce Commission. Welcome to the Administrators Leadership Excellence Academy. This team has worked very hard for a period of 3 years now to develop this content and revise this content, and then revise this content a little bit more. And I think of this as the top gun of leadership academies at this point. So we're very glad that you're here, and I think you guys will have just an amazing time while we're together, and we appreciate your participation so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. And I'm Beth Ponder with Train PD at TCAL. I'm the Director of Professional Development and lead on this project along with Olga Escamilla from our team and Robin Booth as a consultant from Region 6 ESC. So we're the ones working behind the scenes to get everything working and set to go. And we are super excited to have our third cohort of the Administrator Leadership Excellence Academy. So this sounds like a great group, and we're just really looking forward to working with you this year. So welcome everybody, and I'll turn it back over to Amy.
Thanks, Lori and Beth. And Hannah and I, who will be facilitating the Academy, are really excited to be here to lead the Leadership Excellence Academy and to meet all of you through this several-month training process. And I want to thank Lori and Beth and the staff at TCAL for bringing this opportunity to you as adult educators in Texas, and for giving us, the honor of facilitating the Academy. Just so you know a little bit about me, I'm Amy Dalsimer. I'm a senior technical assistance consultant at the American Institutes for Research. I've worked in adult education for about 35 years. I like to say that I started when I was 5. And I started actually as a teacher, as a classroom instructor, doing back then it was GED and ESL and college prep work. And I progressively worked up to various positions in administration, and was ultimately the executive director of a very large adult education and pre-college program at LaGuardia Community College in New York City. And a few years ago, I was able to pivot my career, and now I am a professional development consultant. I work on projects, state and federal and national training projects in adult ed. And I'm really thrilled to be working on this third year of the Texas Excellence Academy. This project is very near and dear to my heart, partially because I really didn't have the opportunity to have any formal leadership training as I was kind of moving through the progressive ranks of administration, moving, per se, from the classroom to the boardroom in adult education. And a lot of my learning was on the job, and that was great learning, but I really wish that there had been an academy that would have helped me as I grew my leadership skills, as I took on positions of increasing responsibility, leading teams and leading the organizations. And so I'm really thrilled to be able to be part of this initiative and share my experience both in the field and also as an adult ed leadership trainer nationally. And I'm also happy that my partner Hannah Schlosser is here. And Hannah, if you want to go ahead and say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet all of you. I'm very excited to be working with you. Like Amy said, my name is Hannah Schlosser, and I'm a technical assistance consultant with AIR. I came to AIR from the Professional Learning Opportunities Project in Pennsylvania, where I was the manager for several years. I got my start in adult education in the classroom. Like many of you, I was an ESL teacher. I got my master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania, and I've taught in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and overseas. I just fell in love with adult education and haven't been able to leave it. So I'm very excited to be here. With AIR, my primary responsibilities are working with all of you. I work on the Nevada and California projects as well. I work with Amy on the leadership project, and I work on the LINKS project funded by the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education. So this is my first year doing the Texas Leadership Academy. I'm very excited to be here though with all of you, and I can't wait to see what we learn and produce together.
Thanks, Hannah. So let's dive in. Today in our time together, we're going to provide you with an overview of ALEA, of the Excellence Academy. We're going to introduce you to the Texas Adult Ed Leadership Framework, which is a framework for helping you think about the development of your own skills and the work that we'll be doing in the Academy. We're going to give a brief demo or explanation of the learning management tools that we have as part of the Academy, and then we'll wrap up and talk a little bit about next steps so you know what comes after today. The Administrator Leadership Excellence Academy, or ALEA, was really designed to assist you, whether you're an upcoming adult ed leader, you're ready to step into kind of a bigger or new role, you're new in your position, or you may have been in adult ed leadership for a while. The Academy was designed to help you strengthen and further develop your skills and knowledge to more effectively lead yourself, lead teams, and lead your organizations. During the Institute, we're going to identify and apply concepts in leadership development. We're going to identify opportunities for program improvements based upon our self-assessment and our program data, and you're going to be practicing and acquiring skills and building skills to support and lead a program initiative at your agency as part of your kind of job embedded leadership skill development work in the Academy. Just a little bit about who we are. Thank you all for introducing yourselves at the start of the training and sharing your hobbies and interests. I can see that this is an interesting and lively group, and I really appreciate getting to know you a little bit more in the chat. And we will get to know one another a lot better over the course of our time together. Just to get a sense of who we are, there are 23 of us representing 17 different adult ed agencies in Texas. Seven of us, there's 7 teams of 2 or more people from the same agency. So you may be in this training with someone from your agency, which is great because you'll be able to focus on work together and kind of build your improvement planning collaboratively and in tandem. And just so you know, alongside of the Administrators Academy, we also have an Instructional Leadership Excellence Academy running, a separate cohort of instructional leaders. And we will be doing some training with them together, which you'll hear more about. And 7 of your agencies have participants in both the Administrator Academy and the Instructional Leadership Academy, which is really exciting, again, for kind of that organizational planning, visioning, and kind of pulling together in the same direction as members from the same organization or adult ed program. So you did get this information when you signed up for the Academy, but just as a quick reminder, there are 4 webinars, 4 one-hour webinars, except our final webinar, which is 1 hour and 15 minutes, that you see the dates in front of you. We will also have some smaller group online meetings that are really geared towards you being able to talk about and present your improvement project ideas in February, and we'll hear and share more information about that later. We have 3 all-day, long-day training sessions. So our first one is in December, and you'll be attending for the full day on December 1st, then a half day on December 2nd, which is a shared training day with the members from the Instructional Leadership Academy, and that will be virtual. And then we'll come together again for a day and a half again in February, and a final day of project presentations in April. We also do a lot of work and have built a community in the online PD portal, which we'll hear more about today, to help you kind of keep track of all these dates and all the assignments and the work that you'll be doing in the Academy. We have created an assignment checklist, and I believe someone may have posted it. I don't know, Robin, if you posted that, or but we have an assignment checklist. I highly recommend that you download that checklist and print it out. It will help you keep track of all the work that will be going on, and it's shared in our PD portal. And the other big piece of The Academy is the work you're going to be doing on leading a program improvement project at your agency. And we're going to talk a lot about that in the upcoming sessions. So here's another view of our training dates, just to give you a sense of kind of what the timeline looks like. If you haven't already, please save all those dates and times in your calendar. So our Academy is really a very highly interactive and hands-on training where we learn with and from one another. Your full participation is really key to your success in this training, and there's really no way to make up the work. So we do expect you to come to all the training sessions and the webinars. It's very hard if you miss because the work is cumulative and every session builds on the next. So we really expect you to be here. There are some assignments in between our sessions, and we hope that you'll complete them all. We expect you to complete them all, including the program improvement project that we'll be talking more about today and in the future. And finally, we do have our online community of practice in the portal. And this is a place where we can share resources, network, also post our assignments, respond to others, and read each other's work. So we're going to give you a quick preview of that, but those are our expectations. So before I go on, are there any questions at this point about the dates or how the Academy works, the overview of the Academy? Great. So let's really dive in now to what the Leadership Excellence Academy is really all about, which is developing and strengthening our skills as adult educational practitioners, identifying our leadership skills, building our leadership skills, and practicing them during this academy. So at the heart of the Leadership Excellence Academy is a focus on those leadership skills and the qualities and characteristics and knowledge that we need to be effective adult ed leaders. Over the course of the Academy, we'll think deeply about what it means to be an effective leader and to have an effective practice and to apply our essential skills in the context of our specific work, so in our own organizational context. And you'll be doing work both in our training activities and throughout the Academy to implement an agency-based improvement project. So to kick us off, we'd like to tap the group's experience a little bit, since you all are already experienced adult educators and leaders in your field, and do a quick brainstorm on leadership now. So we'd like you to reflect on leadership. We're going to ask you, oh, Hannah, I'm sorry. I was going to turn this over to you for the brainstorm. Come on in, Hannah.
No worries. Thanks, Amy. Let me just take the screen from you really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as Amy said, we would like to kick this off with a brainstorm. And so we are going to be asking you to think about what skills and characteristics effective leaders have. And I'm going to have you do this in a word cloud in just a moment. But first, I want you to imagine someone you know who you think of as an effective leader. And as you're thinking about that person, I want you to think about the skills and characteristics that that person has. What do they do that makes them so effective? And how did that make you feel? And once you have that person and those ideas in your mind, I'm going to send you to Menti. If you've never used Menti before, it's very easy to access. You can go to menti.com on either your phone or your computer. And then it's going to prompt you to enter the code you see at the bottom of the screen. But we're also going to put a link in the chat for you. Once you get there, you should see this particular question, and you'll be prompted to enter words and phrases. And you can, again, answer the question, what skills and characteristics do effective leaders have? And while you do that, I'm going to switch over and pull up the Menti so that we can see exactly what you all are coming up with here. Okay, so exciting. We already have some words coming through. And you'll see that as Menti updates with your ideas, it's going to be rearranging itself. And the words that multiple people are entering or phrases are going to come up a little bit bigger. So you can see that problem solver in the middle, multiple people have mentioned problem solving. So it's making that central to our word cloud. I also see on here a theme of communication that comes up a couple of times, energy, patience, team-oriented, the ability to listen, flexibility. I love all of these ideas. And as this continues to generate, I want to say that there's a lot of research out there on what it takes to be a good leader as well, what the skills and characteristics are of an effective leader. And sometimes this research can be overwhelming, but you all have highlighted on this screen some of the things that the research says as well. So you're really pulling out some of the ideas that the research is also saying is a characteristic of effective leaders. For our training, we are going to be focusing on a framework to help orient us to what the characteristics of effective leaders are, what they do and how they do it. And this will help us identify the behaviors and skills that we can adopt to improve our own leadership skills. This Menti is going to keep updating and you all will continue to have access to it, but I'm going to switch back to the PowerPoint now. And again, just take one more moment, kind of look at the words here that have floated to the top. Since I last looked, it looks like honesty has popped up, flexibility has gotten bigger, decisive. So I love all of these ideas. I'm going to switch back to the PowerPoint. So at the heart of our training is our Leadership Excellence Academy Leadership Framework, which we are going to affectionately call the wheel. So you'll hear us refer to it as that throughout this training. And it captures many of those essential skills that you all mentioned in our Menti poll and that are needed to effectively lead ourselves, lead others, and lead organizations. You can also look at this wheel in handout 1, which again, I believe you have access to through the chat if you didn't have it ready for the training today. We're going to be using this tool to consider our own skills, what we already possess, and where we want to further develop our skills to be even more effective leaders and to lead our program improvement project. Take a moment and look at the structure of the wheel. In the center, you can see it says the adult education leader, which is you. And then the middle ring in yellow, blue, and red, those are the 3 big categories that effective leaders need to focus on. We have leading the self in yellow, leading the organization in blue, and leading others in red. And then on the outer ring are the specific leadership skills for each category. So for example, a strong adult ed leader can lead themselves, which means that they're self-aware, they're open-minded, they exhibit emotional intelligence, etc. I want you to take a moment to kind of orient yourself to the wheel, read it closely, and on the next slide, I'm going to ask you to annotate. So as I'm changing slides, think about this wheel, look at those words on the outside, what kind of rings true to you. And I know we didn't get to practice annotate at the beginning, so we're going to jump right in and try it now. You are going to take a moment to annotate on the screen. So again, to remind you what to do, if you hover your mouse over the top of your Zoom screen, a little black bar should pop up. It's where your mute button is, your chat. It might be at the bottom of the screen for you. The annotate button should be on there because I've enabled it now. So I see Amy's nodding. Can you all give me a thumbs up if you can see the annotate? And Amy, if you can monitor that for me. And what I'm going to have you do is use your annotate tool. You can use the marker, but it's easier to use that stamp. There's the option to use a check mark, a star, a heart. And I want you to select 2 things on here that you feel you're already strong in. Which of these skills are you already strong as a leader? What do you already possess? And go ahead and stamp on the screen.
And if you're having trouble with the annotation, you can just go ahead and put the 2 skills in the chat also.
I see some stars coming through. We've got a couple of votes for adaptable, open-minded, and resilient. A lot of problem solvers. This is great. Valuing and empowering people. I can still see the stamps coming through. Committing to self-development and continuous growth. You can see that we have some people with strengths in almost all of these areas, which is great. As a group, we can embody this wheel. And our job also as leaders is to be able to identify the strengths of those around us and to play into those strengths as well. So I can see you still marking. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds to finish marking, and then I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. Great. Okay, so I'm going to clear all your drawings. Don't worry, the wheel is going to come back. And I'm going to go to the next question. And now I want you to think about, where can you improve? So of these areas, can you identify 2 for improvement? And go ahead and use your annotate feature again to do that. I'm seeing a lot of people marking developing partnerships and thinking strategically. Setting strategic direction. It's also interesting to look at the theme of the colors generally. So we have a lot of people currently marking in the blue section of the wheel, the lead the organization section. So it's great to look at those themes as well. And we're excited that we'll be able to target these skills and talk more about them specifically throughout our trainings. Thank you everyone for sharing your input and for jumping right in with that annotate tool. We're now going to think about how we can apply these skills in an adult education organizational setting. So I'm going to clear the annotate, and then Amy, I will pass it back over to you.
Thanks, Hannah. That was really fascinating. And I love to see, how people identify both kind of what they're strong in and where they want to build their skills. I see, thanks to Olga and Robin in the chat, they posted the leadership wheel. So if you didn't have it on hand already or bring it with you, you can open that up, the PDF from the chat. You're going to want to have that wheel in front of you for the next breakout session. Plus, we're going to ask you to have handout 2. We're going to apply the leadership skills framework to 2 case studies, and you're going to go into small groups. You'll have about 7 or 8 minutes for each round. We're going to do it in 2 rounds. So we'll do the first case study in 7 minutes, come back and debrief a little bit, and then go back into the second round and the second case study. When you get into your group, the first thing to do is appoint a note taker, please. Consider the case study, and using your leadership framework wheel, you want to identify the 4 to 5 most important skills that the leader must have to lead this organizational change in the case study. So what are the skills in this particular instance that this leader needs and why in order to do the work they're trying to do? So let's look at, you can have handout 2 and read along with me. Case study number 1, let me read it quickly. To improve student retention and progress, Maplewood Adult Education is moving to the strategy of a managed enrollment model. This is a big shift in how and when students will be placed in classes, how instruction is to be delivered, and how all pre- and post-assessment activities will be completed. Mary, the director, is leading this initiative and recognizes this program change will impact how work gets done at every level of the organization, from student recruitment and intake to advisement, data collection, and instructional delivery. So the discussion that you're going to look at the wheel, and look and think about this case study and decide on and discuss in your group, which are the 4 to 5 most important skills Mary must have to lead this organizational change and why. And have your note taker be prepared to report out on the top 4 to 5 skills that your group identified. I think we are ready to go into breakout groups. Are there any questions about what you'll be doing in there? We're going to post the instructions also. Oh, they're already posted. Thank you, Robin, in the chat. We're ready.
Here we go. Yoliette, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, are you going to join the breakout?
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you going to join the breakout? We're in breakouts right now.
Yeah, I didn't get anything.
Okay, just one moment.
That annotate worked really well, Hannah.
I'm going to finish putting my people in.
Yep.
I'm getting them almost
Should
all.
I stop the recording while y'all are?
Amy?
Yeah.
When we get to Precipio, I'll need to say some stuff.
Okay.
It accidentally sent the email from last year.
Okay.
Also in the welcome email.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back from your breakout group. I hope that was, I know it was short, but I hope that was the beginning of a rich conversation about leadership skills in the context of adult education issue and organizational change. So what I'd like to ask you do is, there were 7 groups, so hopefully there were 7 note takers in each group. Could you go ahead, each group reporter or note taker, and post in the chat for us all to see? Identify one skill that Mary has to have to lead this organizational change and why she needs that skill. So go ahead, and if your group didn't assign a note taker, which I know sometimes happens, go ahead and take, post on behalf of your group, take the leadership and tell us in the chat. And I'm also going to ask a couple of brave note takers or souls if they want to unmute and come on and share with us one skill that your group talked about and why Mary needs that particular leadership skill. Josh, I think you just came on camera.
Oh, I did. Oh, so one skill that we talked about was communication. I think that's a key within any change, and a lot of people can talk, but having a clear and precise communication so that everybody knows what direction we're going to go is definitely will be vital during this organizational change.
Great. Thanks, Josh. Yeah,
welcome.
like this was a big change. It was going to impact all areas of the organization. So being able to communicate that change. Yeah. Anybody else? And Hannah, when you start seeing stuff in the chat, let me know and shout it out.
Yeah, we're seeing a couple of leads through conflict votes, as well as being adaptable and open-minded. We had somebody elaborate a little bit further about leading through conflict. They said that change sometimes brings conflict, so she'll need to be able to lead through this. Problem solving and innovation, communication came up again, and another vote for leading through conflict.
Great. So I love that you guys identified leading through conflict, and a couple of you did. So Amanda, I see you posted. Can you talk a little bit more about that aspect and what your group discussed?
Sure. I mean, that was actually the gist of working through conflict, but just making sure that everybody has has a chance to buy in on their own and not feel forced into changes, to listen effectively to everyone's ideas and opinions. That's really crucial.
Right. And I think what I appreciate about you, and I know Todd's group also addressed that one, is the idea that when you're leading change, you need to anticipate resistance and be prepared for it and know that that buy-in is critical, like for successful change. So I really love that you guys were pointing that out. Does anybody else want to discuss one more skill that we haven't talked about yet? We talked about communication and leads through conflict. Is there another group that wants to elaborate?
Mary added in the chat, leading effective teams, because this is an organization-wide change, so many people will be involved in it.
Right. Mary, did you want to say anything more about that one?
Really, oh, sorry, I'm sitting by a coworker who's also here, so can you hear me?
Yep.
We really were just talking about, one person can't do everything. And so you have to be able to organize and lead teams that are going to effectively roll out these changes and the things that you're doing. And so that's really important.
Yeah, thanks. And I see that Todd was kind of amplifying that. He said, you need to be able to inspire, guide, develop, and motivate others, right? As part of that leading the team. So great. All right. Well, these are awesome. You guys are really hitting it. So let's take a quick look at the second case study. This is one on a new leader. So I'm going to read it quickly. Javier has recently been promoted from an instructor to the program coordinator. He's now managing coworkers who he considers friends, some of who are older than he is. After reviewing program data, he has decided to undertake a curriculum alignment project to better align the levels of ESL both within the agency and with the nearby community college. The project will be a big undertaking and will impact how instructors plan for their ESL levels that they are accustomed to teaching. How can Javier create buy-in for this project and make sure the staff are prepared to make these changes? So again, we're going to put you back in the same groups. We want you to look at the wheel again and identify 4 or 5 of the most important skills that Javier is going to need to lead this instructional and organizational change, and talk about why. So we are ready to go back into groups, Olga. All right, welcome back from breakout groups, everyone. So let's talk about Javier and leading kind of this instructional change. I want to invite you again to each group, go ahead and post one skill that they feel Javier needs to have and why to affect this change that he's looking to make. And I also want to invite folks to unmute and just tell us and share. So what's one skill your group identified, and why that skill? Why is it important in this context?
Well, there are some items coming through the chat.
I typed in the chat, but then I have one I
okay.
to talk
yeah,
about.
So I think, but it was Jody, and then I think Donna also unmuted. So Jody, do you want to go first, and then Donna?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I was just going to say that we talked quite a bit about, being self-aware and understanding his strengths, because when you are, buddies with people and then you become their supervisor, you really have to know where you're at in order to be able to lead them. And that's where the adaptable, open-minded, and resilient also came from, was that, you got to be able to think on your feet and move quicker in this case than in other cases.
Great. Thanks, Jody. And I really like that idea about like understanding his context and his own strengths. And Donna, did you want to add and amplify?
I actually never turned off my my mic or video when we came out of our breakout room. I think pretty much we did identify at least 4, and one of them were, value and empower his people. So with that, if he's now leading people that were once his peers, by empowering them, you'll create perhaps a better buy-in by listening and empowering his peers to maybe form teams to initiate change.
Right. Thanks, Donna. I really appreciate that. Right. That idea of, being in this context, being even more sensitive to empowering folks and helping to kind of guide them and bring them along, as opposed to like the supervisor, right, role, or, wonderful. And Luis is he's dittoing you and saying it's a critical skill at all times. And I see Felicia has also included a skill creates and implements process improvements, right? So thanks, Felicia. So that was great first thinking about the wheel. Thank you all for kind of considering those contexts. We're going to continue this work and give you some homework, which is before we meet again in December, we're going to ask you to complete handout 3, which is to look closely at this wheel in more depth and consider your own strengths and your areas for improvement. So you have handout 3, both I think in the portal, and then also we can post it here. So that's homework we want you to do. So thanks so much for sharing. And as we wind down, we just want to share a few tools with you that you're going to be using to make sure you know how to access all of our training materials. So Hannah, are you ready to talk about the portal?
Yes, thanks, Amy. So I imagine some of you have been in the portal already, but we're just going to very quickly touch base about some of the key elements and the purpose of our portal and our online community of practice. So first, if you haven't participated in a community of practice before, it's a great opportunity to work with a group of people. And in this quote you see on the screen, it says, "A community of practice is a group of people who share a concern or a passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly." And this is really the value of a community of practice, that you're not doing something independently, you're learning with a group and you're teaching each other at the same time. In our community of practice, we're going to be using the portal. So we will be interacting in that space. And because of that, your presence and contributions are important. We encourage you to be checking it regularly, participating in the discussion boards, asking questions, sharing resources, and posting your assignments. The community of practice is located at the address that you see on the screen. It's also been shared in the chat several times today. In order to access it, you go to the Connect Communities tab at the top of the window when you get in there, and then you'll select the ALEA Administrator Leadership Excellence Academy Cohort 3 tab, and you should be a member. And then in there, you'll see the slides, handouts, and assignments. And I'm actually going to hand it over now to our TCall team to do a walkthrough of this quickly. Olga, do you want to say anything about the portal to bring us home here?
Yes, just very quickly. Yes, you'll log into your PD portal account, which is shown on the screen. And once you get into the community of practice, and Beth has posted ALEA Cohort 3, you are going to, and I have the PD portal up. Are we going to go there or not? You may not see the feeds showing up. So if you go into the community of practice and you're not seeing anything, then you need to click on topics. And once you click on topics, that's going to show you various folders. And if you click on the various folders, then you're going to be able to see the content there. So if, again, if you don't see it in the main page of the community,
Are we
then you
supposed to
will.
be looking at your screen, Olga? Because,
No, ma'am.
oh, okay, sorry.
So you should be able to see it if you click on topics at the very top of the screen. And if you don't see the feed, just reach out to myself or Robin, and we will be glad to assist you. Thank you. Thank you, Hannah.
Of course. And you're not in this alone, so please reach out if you have any questions as you're exploring these communities. And also we have another resource space for you. So I'm going to invite Deb to introduce us to Percipio.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, just something a little short. So we found some leadership training online, much like LinkedIn Learning on leadership and management, and we've purchased the licenses for all of you. I've put your names in the system, so you'll have gotten 2 emails. One email, I forgot that I made it last year, so it'll say you've got some learning that needs to be finished by December 31, 2020. Just delete that email. Don't worry about that. The next one is welcome to Percipio, and it'll give you your username, tell you to log in and create your account. And then on the checklist, I'll send you some more information via email to have some assignments done, and you'll see those assignments as you go through the checklist. So just a heads up, you're getting an email, you're getting 2. Delete the one that says I assigned you something and is due December of last year. Keep the other one and join us in the Percipio program. That is all.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thanks so much, Deb. And, you know, we're going to be communicating all this. I know this is kind of a quick trip, but don't worry. We have a lot of time to, you know, support you and for you to explore the portal and Percipio in the months ahead. And we'll be here to support you in that. And Robin and Olga have both posted their emails for you so that if you have tech questions or platform questions, there are 2 experts that can support. So I know we're at time, but if you can give me 1 more minute, I just want to let you know kind of what happens next. So we'll come back together again for our second webinar on November 10th on data-driven decision-making. And then we'll meet on December 1st and 2nd for our virtual training. And the topics you see here, assessing our MLQ leadership styles, setting SMART goals, collecting and using qualitative data, and getting started on our improvement projects will be the focus of our work in December. Just to give you a heads up, the improvement project is not a one and done. It's something that we start in thinking about in December and that we work on and develop together over the course of many months. And you'll have opportunities to submit draft work, get feedback, and develop your ideas further. And it all builds to you presenting your improvement project, leadership improvement project in April. So that's just to kind of let you know that a lot of the work you'll be doing in here happens over time and with support from this community of practice and us, and that you'll be building to a final capstone presentation in April. In the portal is the template you'll be using for that improvement project plan. And you can go in there now and see it, but we will be looking at it very closely and discussing it more in the months ahead. To prepare for our time in November, we've also posted an assignment in the portal. It's a short article that we'd like to ask you to read. The 6 fundamental skills every leadership practice as a pre-reading. And we want you to view the POP webinar, which will be assigned to you and appear on your transcript in the portal. Again, I think all of these things will be communicated to you in follow-up emails and via the portal and emails to you. So don't worry about keeping track of all of this right now. All right, so as we wrap up, I'd love to ask you to give us your feedback on today's kickoff. So you can scan the QR code or go ahead and use the evaluation link that Robin just posted to give us your feedback on today's session. And yeah.
We also have a question from Lewis.
Okay.
Thank you. Just a quick one. I have 3 people within my same consortium. Do we do 3 different projects, or can we work on a consortium-wide community product?
Great question, Lewis. So the short answer is everybody needs to do their own improvement project, meaning they need to do their plan and they need to draft a PowerPoint presentation. However, we do understand that you might all have the same improvement focus, like, you know, improving student retention or building a new program. And if that's the case, then what you want to do is get together and define each of your leadership roles within the project. So that, you know, one person might be doing curriculum and instruction, another person might be focusing on professional development for staff, and a third person might be focusing on, you know, developing systems. So when we get there, we'll talk to you more about how to do it, because the idea behind the project is that each of you gets a chance to develop your own leadership skills through the project. But certainly it can and should be connected and share a shared goal overall if you're at the same agency. And we can talk more with you, Lewis, and your team and other pairs about how that could work in here.
That sounds perfect. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for that question. So thank you all for hanging on a little later. And we will see you again at our November webinar. And thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys. Nice seeing y'all.